Advantage. Welcome to the kitchen.
Thanks for having us.
It's great to have you here. Was the Rural Alberta Advantage a hard sell of a name for the two of you?
No. When we met Nils and we kind of got introduced to the music he was writing at the open mic, he was up there singing a lot of songs that were like homesick love songs, about having moved from Alberta. And so we were very prepared for the band to be something like that.
Yeah, born and raised.
Yeah.
Born in Edmonton, up to Fort McMurray for high school, and then back to Edmonton for university.
Tell us about Beacon Hill. Why was that a song that was important for you to write?
Well, I think it was, as much as I know that Fort McMurray is part of, who I am and growing up there, I realized that defined me, but at the same time, I knew quite early on that Fort McMurray wasn't necessarily the place for me. I realized it formed who I was, but I wanted something different. And so it kind of took moving to Toronto to realize that all of the stories I collected and memories that I had from Alberta really defined who I was. And that's, the sort of stuff I draw on. And so when the fires are happening, people are evacuating, and it's quite possibly that, the city might not make it. It was one of those moments where I'm like, oh wow, I'm not ready for this.
Oh, I'm living in the taillights, I guess I've drawn. I'm holding out you, and then I never want to see you gone.
Your latest album, The Rise and Fall, 6 years since your last full-length EP, if I got that right?
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
And 2 years to write it and develop it. Why the slow burn, Amy?
Well, I mean, part of it was the pandemic, right?
Yeah, this little thing called COVID.
The thing that delays everything.
Didn't stop other bands, but it stopped us.
It sure stopped us. During the pandemic, we had to sort of reimagine how our band worked in terms of songwriting, because what we used to do is, we're going in the rehearsal space and we're working on stuff and we're all being loud and trying ideas, and at some point we're all gonna come to an agreement on something sometime. And then we'll go and we'll play a bunch of shows and we'll try them out, we'll see what's working and we'll see what's not, and then we'll come back and we'll hash it out some more and just bash them around until they're something we're all happy with.
Live is your trial balloon.
Yes,
okay.
And so we couldn't do that, right? And we couldn't even be together. In Toronto, we had extremely strict lockdown rules. You weren't allowed to do anything for 8 months or something, a really long time. We were we could not do it. So we kind of, we started kind of doing demos, online. We would Nils would have an idea and pass it to us back and forth. Paul has his e-drums, and I would have my MIDI keyboard, and we would kind of start to demo ideas for each other that way. And it actually was really successful, and I think it's a process we'll keep going with.
Okay, cool.
Then eventually we got back together and we could be in really distant, our friend owns a brewery and let us use his warehouse, and we would stand really far away and work on stuff. So
that sort of slow coming back together was sort of really funny, wasn't it?
Yeah, and so I think it helped with the songs too. We don't like to take, we take a long time. I think we all wish we could be a bit faster, but this way really felt like what we have with this record is really what we all feel good about and what we all want.
Okay.
All right, Nelson.
Let's see.
Stepping up to the plate. When you're going to get that.
Whoa.
Perfect.
Yeah, nice.
No worries, Nils.
The time that you take for projects has to do with the fact that all of you still have, if we want to call it, day jobs, right? So what is it that each of you does on top of the fact that you're also in a very busy band? Amy?
I'm a TV writer, producer.
Hey, I'm a lawyer. I work in intellectual property.
I work for a computer company, so I did an engineering degree in Alberta at U of A.
I think you'd be surprised how many bands are doing more than just music.
Yeah.
I think there's tons of people with tons of different side hustles. I think it makes you more whole and complete in some ways. But then I think the point about it taking us a long time, maybe some of that is the fact that we have other things going on, but I think some of it is just the kinds of writers we are. Nils in particular is I think a tinkerer, is not there it is, it's done. So I wrote the song and now let's go record it.
I think for me, it having the two sides of my brain working, it kind of one feeds the other in interesting ways. And there was a time where like I was kind of like on a half-time employment and the band was like going strong. It didn't mean that I wrote more songs at that point. Even though I had so much more time in the world, I just feel like sometimes I need the time to assess and let things click and sort of percolate up.
One of the songs that's on there is called FSHG.
Coming up tight. Let's rearrange the continents and desire. I suppose. Picking up the flies along the coast of these fine islands. As you know, we're running out of time in the north. Flooding us down in the Portland. It's just a matter of time. Between the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost.
You performed this thing live on the floor in the studio, and bam, you had a track for your album. How often does that happen, Paul?
I mean, the only time I can think of that we've done exactly that basically is when we did Goodnight on the second record. But we always try to have some element of us playing live together. That's sort of the bedrock of every track. So usually I'm playing, and Amy and Nils in some combination are also playing along, and we keep that as the core and then build everything on top of that. But yeah, that song just felt right that way. Like it felt like we didn't need to do a lot of layering or anything like that. It felt like it was going to be more true to the song if we just captured this performance of it.
Yeah, okay.
That's it. When it's premium ingredients, you want a lot of it. It's delicious.
That's a good veggie pizza.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Such a pleasure to get you in, eat some pizza, hang out, and talk about your music. Thank you for coming by.
Thanks so much. This is great. It was a great team building effort too. Got talking about things we haven't thought about in a while.
Good. Excellent. Yes.
Or ever.
The bill's in the mail.
Awesome. Thank you.